right, y'all, FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, his trial started today, and he says he didn't defraud anybody. Definitely let me know what you think about all of that. Again, he is pretty much the leader or the head of the biggest cryptocurrency that has gone down, and a lot of people have some differing opinions on it. So let's jump into it. So again, he specifically mentions that he did not defraud anyone, or rather intend to defraud anyone. However, he did wind up with a lot of cash once the investors did lose money. Now, what I'm actually interested to see is who is going to turn. Again, he did have a couple other what we want to call shell companies at this point in time, and some of those entities or some of those individuals who rather worked in those entities who were perhaps people who Fried may have called friends at one point in time, friends, colleagues, other individuals who had worked with him under his direction for a period of time are ready to speak. So I'm interested to see what they will come up and say, if it will actually be, quote, new information, and at what juncture did they find that, you know what, something like this is one of these things are not quite like the other. I think something more is going on. Now, another hot topic that I find interesting is the celebrity endorsements. And the celebrity endorsements were quite pricey. From what we have seen so far, we had Tom Brady. What I can see here, Tom Brady was paid $55 million for about 20 hours of work. Let's just let that resonate for a moment. 20 hours of work. You think the average American works a 40-hour work week, 45-hour work week, some 35-hour work week, and we're looking at 20 hours of work. So that's like 2-ish days, right? 2.5-ish days, depending on what your profession is, and for $55 million. So definitely there has been a lot of talk, a lot of controversy surrounding whether he was in on it, because he did profit, right? He did profit, and he profited in a large way. Not only, again, having his name being, Tom Brady being, being the GOAT in his field, but it's like, were you in on this, and what was the deal? Now, he did have the ad, and I believe the ad was with Larry David, a comedian. So again, of course, there was something where he was, offered funds as well. Did not seem to be in anywhere near the sum of what Tom Brady had received, but again, he's in the mix too. So that's a spin. Another very, very popular GOAT again, Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry was supposedly estimated to be paid $35 million, again, for about 60 hours of work. So again, like I said, that between that, let's say 35 to 45 hour, range hour of work, 60 hours, so just over a week's worth of work, $35 million. Now, more specifically, of course, with any investments, you as individuals, or rather us as individuals, have to make the best educated decision that we can make before deciding to move forward and invest. It is what it is. But as cryptocurrency began to come in and begin to flourish, everything was looking for the sexiest new product. Everybody was looking for the sexiest new product that was out on the market, and crypto seemed to be that it factor. And a lot of people jumped in on it. A lot of people wanted to, be able to, get their hand in it. And if it succeeds, great. But if it doesn't, hopefully everything you had wasn't in it, kind of deal. With the response again from Bankman-Fried saying that he didn't defraud anyone. It's an investment. You win some, you lose some. Like going to a casino. You may win something, you may lose something. But again, as most folks would say, the house always wins. With that being said, adding the celebrities in, I think, was a very strategic move, very strategic placement, especially being able to get celebrities, again, of, like I said, the GOATs of their field. Everybody, at least everyone in the athletic world knows who Tom Brady is. An example. So to be able to have, and I want to say that was also a Super Bowl ad as well. So to be able to get, a well-known celebrity on board, and to be able to get a few other people in the mix as far as other celebrities, comedians, other people to just kind of pull it together, and to be able to get it on one of the biggest platforms in and around the Super Bowl or Super Bowl time is huge. So not only did he be able to, cultivate, again, the ad to be able to put it in for the cryptocurrency, but also something that a lot of people say, that's the GOAT. If it's good for him, it's good for me. and I'm gonna put something into it. Of course, a lot of people are not financially situationally similarly situated as Tom Brady, because most of us are not that situated. Most of us are not in that situation, obviously. However, the investments of what he may have put in, of course, the gross volume for what the consumers and what those watching the ad and what those perceive to say, you know what, I want in. I don't care if I have I have $100. I'm gonna put the $100 in there. We're gonna rock it out. Now, for some folks, it definitely paid off. They were able to see a return on their investment and perhaps be able to move forward and see further growth later on down the line before the bankruptcy and all the other stuff started to happen. However, there are a lot of you that situation did not happen. Now, of course, there is something to be said where there's a new currency being cryptocurrency, and it not being like an actual bill, or not being of the US dollar or of the euro, or of something more tangible, something that has been in the mix for a significant period of time, that you're taking a risk. And more specifically, with you taking a risk, of course, some say if there's no risk, there's no potential reward. And others say, you know what, I know what I have, but I don't know necessarily what I can get, but I know what I'm not willing to lose. And for that reason, I am very interested to see how this trial will go. And Stephen Curry. So again, another GOAT, Stephen Curry. I circle back to him again because he has been in the mix for a number of years. He, I think, was a very, very popular pick. And to be honest, I was kind of surprised. I won't say kind of surprised, but kind of surprised to see him as the pick, because again, there's so many athletes. And again, I list these few because these few are of the top headlines, more specifically in the FTX, the whole shebang, because they had those high gross revenue ads. However, there are several other people in the mix as well, right? So more specifically with Stephen Curry, again, if he had moved forward, and to my understanding, he was an investor as well, he saw some return on his investment. He liked the return that he had seen, and he said, you know what, hey, let's move forward and let's do the ad. Now, more specifically, as things go down the line, there has definitely been some kickback, some pushback for, were they in on it? How much were they in on it for? Did they necessarily know that it was going to go the way that it was going to go? Or was it hey, it's an investment, it's only a matter of time? So definitely comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this particular situation and or scenario. Do you think that Tom Brady, Stephen Curry, and some of the countless others will move forward and take the witness stand? Of course, especially a loss of what they have invested can be, maybe peanuts to that of the, average out, working, individual, or maybe a business owner who had a lot of funds and perhaps lost, or rather took a greater loss as compared to what they had available to invest? Or do you feel that, hey, it's an investment, with the investment there's a risk, you decided to take a risk? In this particular scenario, the risk did not pay off, and there's perhaps no fault. I'm definitely interested to know your thoughts on here. I'm also interested to see what will end up happening in this trial, to see, kind of the overarching, theme. I'm not sure when I say his, I mean Sam Bankman-Fried, his initial defense, if you will, is gonna hold. I just don't see it. I think a lot of people feel some type of way about Bankman-Fried and about just cryptocurrency and about the whole thing in and of itself, especially given that the other entities, or like the other shell companies, sister companies that he had going on, ended up still having funds. Again, those funds were later seized and kind of held to be able to, redistribute and perhaps, try to push out, or rather push back what, try to recoup some of the losses for some individuals, even if it is of a nominal value. But more specifically, during this time here, when they're doing a jury, or if they decide to go that route, there are a lot of folks in there that are impacted. So is that going to be a determining factor to say, hey, you know what, if you were an investor, or if you had a family member that was an investor, or how far does that extend to where some individuals, whether either they themselves were impacted, or maybe they had an immediate family member or a relative, or maybe a good friend, somebody in their community. It's almost like, is it a lose-lose? Do you feel that Bankman-Fried will actually get a fair trial? I mean, of course, that nothing is, perfect. But in this particular scenario, I think just the crypto world and industry in and of itself is stretched out just so far that I think no matter how it shapes out, good, bad, and different, and I'm not sure there's a great ending for Bankman-Fried in any event. But I'm wondering if they will move for to say that he was not able to get a fair trial, and if they do it a second time, do it a third time, will he ever get a fair trial? Definitely let me know. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the FTX and the trial. How long you think it's going to be? Do you think they're going to? Do you think he's actually going to move forward and say, yep, this is how I did it, and this is what this is kind of how I got caught, if you will? Or do you think he's going to ride it out and say, you know what, there were a few other hands in the mix. I wasn't necessarily, I was the figurehead of it, but I wasn't necessarily the brains behind the operation, and move to kind of shift blame and throw it on a few other folks. And as always, if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.